Today's episode of the Bleav in Steelers show is brought to you by betonline.ag. The Panthers are a slight favorite over the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 15 of the football action. We'll discuss here on today's episode of the Bleav in Steelers show. But before we get into it, head to betonline.ag today. They'll take care of all of your gambling needs this NFL season.
365, 24/7, whatever sport, whatever time, whatever place. Make sure y'all go to betonline.ag.
Use our promo code Bleav, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. All right, cue the music. It's time to start the show. Welcome to the Bleav in Steelers show on the Bleav Network. I'm your host, Mark Bergin, joined by my guy, Pittsburgh Steelers scout, two-time Super Bowl champion, and 12-year veteran of the team, number 24, Ike Taylor. IT, good to see you this morning, my man. Recording this on Wednesday. Steelers hit the road to Carolina, take on the Panthers. Week 15 is already here. How are you doing this morning, my man?
Man, week 15, it feels like the football season is coming to a close. Mark, I do feel good to answer your question, but yeah, Pittsburgh is on the road against the Carolina Panthers, and the Carolina Panthers, they don't look too shabby. So we shall see what the Pittsburgh Steelers can do.
Pair of 5-8 teams entering this game, Ike, and it's like, can we figure out a way that the Panthers and Steelers could trade divisions? I miss being in the playoff hunt, Ike.
I know it's tough, right? Mark, it's just tough watching the Pittsburgh Steelers going through the growing pains, I would say. But heck, I haven't seen this since, my rookie year, which was 2003, to be honest. So to go this long, damn near 20 years, to have this kind of season, I'll take this every other 20 years, any day of the week.
I'm with you, Ike. And at stake, if the Steelers lose, it would be Mike Tomlin's first losing season in his 16-year tenure in Pittsburgh. And then if the Panthers win, interim head coach Steve Wilks will have won as many games as Matt Rule, who was fired earlier this season in 2.5 years in Carolina. So a lot at stake. But Ike, let's open things up. And I know you're a little bit limited in what you can say in this regard.
Right.
But the big question Steelers fans have is Kenny Pickett coming off a concussion, his second in 8 weeks. If he's unable to go, which quarterback do you start against the Panthers, Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph? I'll turn it over to you, and I'll give you my opinion after.
Oh, man, Mark, that's a tough question. What I will say, Mark, is whoever I was split between Mitch and Mason during the week, and whoever looks the best between them two, I will move forward on going on either or. So I'll return this question to you. If you're in Coach Tomlin position, Mark, who would you have if Mitchell Trubisky couldn't go?
Kenny Pickett, but I got you, Ike.
I'm sorry. Kenny Pickett, I'm sorry.
So I would go with Rudolph, and here's why. You've got Trubisky under contract through this season and through next season. Rudolph is only under contract through this current season, then he's a free agent. If you're going to decide to bring him back beyond this season, give him a whirl, see what he can do, because through 4 starts, I know what Mitch Trubisky can do. He's made 54 career starts at this point in his career. I know what Mitch Trubisky is. He can be a solid backup, that's fine. But it was always going to be, let's have him hold the reins and then have Pickett take over when he's ready. I understand Trubisky has a mobility to his game that Mason Rudolph doesn't have, but I don't think if Trubisky plays that he could potentially increase his value. People know what he is as a quarterback in this league at the age of 28 years old. So if you can't improve his value and you avoid getting him hurt for next season, I would throw Rudolph out there to see what you've got. And maybe, even if you don't bring Rudolph back, I'm kind of thinking like a GM here. If you maybe increase his value and forcing another team to spend more money on a backup quarterback that they otherwise wouldn't want to spend, I'd give Mason Rudolph a shot this weekend, and that would be my argument for the Steelers' third stringer.
So, Mark, this is a business where winning is everything. So you feel like you can win on Sunday more with Mason than Mitch, or you're thinking more offseason than value? Because by the end of the day, we still trying to get this win.
Okay, if we're trying to win, I would go with Mitch, Ike, but I'm thinking the force between the trees, and I think it's marginal. I really Bleav it's marginal, the difference between Trubisky and Rudolph. If we're trying to win one game, yeah, I would go. I think Mitch Trubisky is a better quarterback than Mason Rudolph. I'm with you there. But again,
I was just curious.
I'm looking at this beyond just this one individual game, Ike, because at this point, to me, the playoffs are lost. I know that the Steelers are not yet mathematically eliminated, but it would be a long shot. And I will say this, either team that loses this game, they would have to have chaos happen for them to make the playoffs for either team, because both teams are 5-8 at this standpoint, Ike. So that's just the way that I would approach it. Yeah, if I'm trying to win one game, again, I think Trubisky is a better quarterback than Rudolph. I will concede that.
Okay, for sure. Just curious. Just wanted your thoughts on that.
Well, and I look at Trubisky when he's been at his best as a quarterback in this league. Remember, both Rudolph and Trubisky have winning records as quarterbacks. I just know what Mitch Trubisky is. He's 30-24 as a starter. Through 4 starts, I've seen what he can do with this team. He's been given his shot. Again, if Pickett can't go, and let me say this too, if Pickett can go, like Mike Tomlin said, I'm starting Pickett 10 times out of 10.
Right.
And this is just my opinion too, Ike. If Pickett had stayed healthy in that game against the Ravens, I think the Steelers win that game. Just my opinion.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with that. I think Kenny Pickett just gives that team a whole lot of hope, and he's more valuable right now when he's under center.
Yeah. I'll say this too, Ike. 2 concussions in an 8-week span.
Yeah.
That's why I want to see. Hey, and you've got your work cut out for you with the scouting department, Ike. I am going to lead the campaign. I want to see improvements to the offensive line. And, I've been banging that drum for a long time now, Ike. And that's something that, there have been improvements since the bye week. But, after that Ravens game, Ike, it was just the struggles of the offense again. I know you look on paper, you say, well, on defense, you're giving up 5 yards a carry. I look at it from the standpoint where you only allow 16 points to a Ravens team, and the 3 interceptions that Trubisky threw all came in Ravens territory. I always say not all interceptions are created equal. It was the scenario in which they happened in. You have Calais Campbell, 6'8", a mountain of a man, block one of Chris Boswell's field goals. And it's like points were a premium. If you get 3 on any one of those drives, that's the difference between winning and losing this past week against Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. But Calais Campbell, he's been doing that for a long time.
Yes, sir.
And to be able to play on defense at 6'8" says a lot about Calais Campbell, because usually guys who are that tall, they're usually on the offensive line. They usually play tackle either left or right. So for that man to be playing defense for this long, and he's changed the culture too. He's brought in the culture for the Ravens. So for him to be playing that long, he's been blocking, field goal kicks for a minute. But just to hear a 6'8" defense says a lot about how good he is and how they feel about Calais, because he's the centerpiece of that defense.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ike. Like I said, a mountain of a man. One final thought with Trubisky and the quarterback battle too, Ike. The one thing to where I would say let's start Mitch would be you don't want to ruin his confidence going into next season, because I want him to get the best out of Kenny Pickett. So if confidence is an issue at all and you're worried about that at all, I don't know the makeup and demeanor. I'm not in the locker room every day. I'm not in the practice meetings every day. But if that is an issue, then just go on and start Mitch, because honestly, this is a perverse way to look at it, Ike, and I understand this because it's very different. You spent 12 years as a player in that organization. But for me, it's like if you're not going to make the playoffs, if you're not going to contend, let's try to get as high a draft pick as possible. And So to me, that's like the silver lining. And honestly, like I'm kind of at peace watching Steelers games now, because if they win, it's like, oh, great. My team won. And if they lose, it's like, hey, well, maybe we can finally get a pick higher than 10th, which they traded up for Devin Bush in 2019. That's the highest pick of the Tomlin era. And so people that are criticizing the Steelers right now, I shake my head, because how many other organizations traditionally would love to be in the Steelers' shoes? And I've said this before. Mike Tomlin is the victim of his own success because of how many other people would want to be in his shoes, because he plays to win. He plays to compete every single game. I think that's something that separates the Steelers from other organizations in sports. Go ahead, Ike. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but Mark, don't nobody want to be in these kind of shoes. I mean, we talk. So you got to look at Cleveland. You got to look at Chicago. You got to look at Jacksonville. You got to look at Detroit. Used to be Detroit. So you got to look at the bottom of the barrel kind of organizations. And you never want to be them kind of organizations. I think Coach Tomlin said this a couple of years ago. He was talking to Jadeveon Clowney. He was like, boy, you look good, but sure, you too high for me in that draft. So that's the mentality, that's the mindset of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, you never want to be in the top 10 unless you're trading to be in the top 10. If you ain't trading to be in the top 10 and you just automatically in the top 10, a lot of people are getting fired. That's just how it is. So now, from your perspective, you like, yeah, for sure. I get exactly what you're saying. But from a player's, a coach, and a front office perspective, it's like, nah, it sucks. It sucks to be in the top 10 every other year. Obviously, your team ain't doing good.
Well, it's been a long time since the Steelers have been naturally in the top 10, Ike, is what I'm trying to say.
Correct.
It was Chase Young from Washington that he had that conversation.
Yes, Chase Young, not just David Clowney. Correct.
Yeah. We knew he was a stud defensive end. I know that exact clip where he just laughs.
No, I stand correct.
Says, we don't.
You.
Yeah, I got you, Ike. It's still early. It's the morning. It's okay. Keys to the game, Ike. Again, both teams 5-8 for me. Since Steve Wilks took over as Panthers head coach, their identity has changed, meaning they run the football now, which is surprising because you trade Christian McCaffrey over to the 49ers and it's like, wait a second. Well, you're running the ball and the stats don't lie. The Panthers lead the NFL in rushes between the tackles and are second in rushing yards between the tackles since week 7. So when Wilks took over as the interim for Matt Rule, and I'll say this, if he leads the Panthers to the playoffs and the Panthers are in control of their own destiny, if they win out, they're in. If he gets the Panthers in after the brutal start that they had under Matt Rule, you have to strongly consider. You got to consider Wilks for the head job. Go ahead.
Mark, I agree with you 100%. You have to strongly consider, unless the owner wants to just clean slate. But if the Panthers sneak in the playoff off of how they started, off of the firing during the season with the head coach, Matt Rule, and them boys get enough, you got to consider them. Because one thing I will say, first of all, next year you're going to have some really good draft picks off of CMC, letting Christian McCaffrey go. Second of all, you're doing exactly what you need to do, and you're creating an identity for your team. And what's that? Running the ball, controlling the clock, and playing good defense. It's right now like the Tennessee Titans way. We're going to run the ball, we're going to control the clock, and we're going to play good defense. Now, is it the sexiest? Is it the flamboyant way of winning games? No. Is it the Patrick Mahomes way? No. Is it the Josh Allen way? No, because they don't have a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes kind of quarterback. But, yeah, do we want to give ourselves time, a chance in every game? Yes. Well, how you do that? You catch your running game and you play good defense. Exactly what the Tennessee Titans do. So, yeah, for Coach Wilks, I agree with you 100%, Mark. If he gets this team into the playoffs, strongly consider giving this man the head coaching job.
It's funny you mentioned the Titans earlier, Ike, because I'm looking at, okay, who are the Panthers running backs since they traded over CMC? Deonta Foreman, who spent several years back
Texas,
Derrick Henry,
with the Titans.
And then
Correct.
Chuba Hubbard, the stud out of Oklahoma State, who I remember when Hubbard was in college, he had a 2,000-yard season in college, and they played like 12 games. So he's good at
They got
toting the
two.
rock too.
Hey, Mark, they got two running backs that damn near broke a lot of college records when it came down to the running game.
Yeah.
Foreman was a stud at Texas, and we all know what Trouble was doing. So if I feel like these are my two best and most consistent players on my offense, what the heck do you think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna run the damn ball. Y'all belly about to be tired as hell because I'm about to put this football in y'all belly damn near 40 times a game.
Yeah, Ike, and you mentioned with Wilks with the full-time role, you at least have to consider it. And if you don't hire him, you better hit a home run. You say, listen to the players, Ike. Listen to what Shaq Thompson says, speaking for the locker room, a respected veteran saying about Wilks. I'm going to just read you a quick quote. He's a true alpha. He's a true leader. Guys follow behind him. He's a great coach, and I hope he's here for a while, end quote.
Hey, listen.
What Mark, I need to know.
He traded CMC, right? Which was a hell of a trade for San Fran, and obviously it's going to be a good trade with the draft picks for the Carolina Panthers. Then he messed around and he got rid of a bad seed in Roby Anderson, so say, at the wide receiver position. This is what you're not going to do. You're not going to disrespect the team, you're not going to disrespect my coaching staff, and you definitely ain't going to disrespect me. Traded him as well to Arizona. So, and when players see that, they got to fall in line because you got to understand, in the football world, it's organized violence. So you got to know that my mentality got to be wired different as a head coach because I'm a head coach and I'm creating a atmosphere. I'm asking guys to run into guys 50, 40, maybe 100 pounds different than them every damn play. So a few of your screws got to be loose. Now, as a coach, to have respect from your players, an alpha talking about another alpha, says a lot about the coach. So the reason why they playing like this for Coach Wilks, they respect him. And that's all you can ask as a coach or as a person. Just give me some kind of respect. So, like I said, like you talked about, highly consider, depending on how the season go with the Carolina Panthers, Coach Wilks as a head coach. Because we say it all the time now. You've been on the show with me for about 2.5, 3 years. Hey, players ain't going to lie to you. They're going to tell you the truth. All you got to do is listen to their post or their pregame speeches. They letting you know everything that's going on in the locker. They letting you know if players like other players. They just letting you know. And we take from that and we put our 2 cents in and we'll evaluate how and what we want to say. But yeah, Mark, for Shaq to come out and say this about Coach Wilks, they always felt like he should have been a coach because that's the whisper. Yeah, we love Coach Matt Rule. He's our head coach right now, but they got a coach sitting right behind him that he's really our head coach. This is how players talk.
Yeah, Ike, to me, it's either mismanaging the roster or mismanaging personalities, maybe mismanaging personnel, but it's a results-based business at the end of the day. And if the Panthers beat the Steelers, he'll have as many wins as Matt Rule had during his entire tenure there. I think that's very telling. Telling.
Mark, you just said something. Mismanaging the roster. When you're a head coach, and sometimes you don't have a lot of say so with the front office and the guys y'all draft. But your mindset might be going into the season like, okay, this is how I want to run this offense or this is how I want to run this defense. But your roster says it's better suited for this style on offense or this style on defense. And that's all Coach Wilks is doing. And that's what a lot of coaches not only, and I look at it from a developmental stage with my 10-year-olds, I look at it from a high school, a college, and a professional level. It's a lot of coaches who don't want to change. And they don't want to change because what they know is what they know. The great coaches evolve, evaluate, and they look at their roster and they be like, you know what? I'm a 4-4 guy on defense, but my roster says 3-4. Let me change to a 3-4. Or Coach Wilkes, they thought they had a spread offense because obviously Coach Matt Rule coming from college, he liked to sling the ball. But Coach Wilkes, I'm guessing, and I'm just guessing, just my personal opinion. He said, man, our roster say we're a running team. So I get what you want to do, Coach, but we're a running play action kind of team. So that's exactly what they're doing now, running the ball, playing good defense, play action. Because they got two guys that we did for the draft, Mark. I don't know if you remember. I think they got a D tackle in the corner that we were talking about high last year. And them two rookies wound up balling. We talked about them last year. Carolina wound up picking them up, and they've been great contributors to that defense as well.
J.C. Horn, the corner, is one of
South
them.
Carolina.
Like, yes.
Right.
And I know he's the son of the NFL receiver.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Joe Horn. Yeah.
Yes.
And then I'm just looking at the depth chart right now.
Okay.
Ike Ekwonu out of NC State.
Yes.
Left tackle.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there and I'm like,
You was high on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was king of the pancake. Like, they were giving him bottles of maple syrup coming out of college. So if I'm a young skill position player, it's like, okay, I got my bodyguard, I got my road paver taken care of for the next 2 years. Yeah.
Why would I if I got a guy all he doing is eating IHOP and Waffle House because he just full of pancakes because he be smashing people, why would I want to pass the ball all day? Let me go ahead and get this NIL deal / new contract for the NFL and let that man keep pancaking people by running the ball.
Like, I think you just got Ike Ekwonu a sponsorship to Waffle House. We could do Cracker Barrel. I mean, Denny's. Have your pick.
One or two. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I'll say this too. Listen to the players. I remember after the game, they're talking to Sam Darnold, who's 2-0 this season, filling in. They got rid of Baker Mayfield. PJ Walker's out with an injury. And he's like, they asked him, like, hey, what's the difference? And he's like, oh, we're running the ball. And it sounded as simple as that. And this coming from a quarterback. It's coming from a quarterback.
Hey, it makes it so much easier when your running game is efficient and you can do play action pass because everybody bites on the line because you've been running the ball so good. Now you got 2, maybe 3 receivers running wide open. It's so good. But the running game has to be efficient. And right now, that's exactly what's going on with the Carolina Panthers. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, since Carolina is playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, they got their work cut out for them on trying to stop the run this week.
Remember,
since we got keys to the game coming up.
Yeah. And remember, Brian Burns, the left defensive end for the Panthers, like, Panthers could have had not 1 but 2 first-round draft picks for him, and they decided to keep him. So keep an eye on him, making sure he's blocked up front. Like, key to the game right there, because you can get not 1 but 2 first-round draft picks, and the Panthers said, no, we're going to keep him.
Yeah, I mean, you already got a first round that obviously he's doing good. Then you get a few more other draft picks from CMC, from Christian McCaffrey. So I'm telling you, man, Pittsburgh, the Carolina Panthers will be in good grace if they finish off strong, but in better grace off of the draft picks they will acquire coming into this 2023 draft.
All right, Ike, we've talked plenty about this. I will go to my score prediction, and it's contingent on if Kenny Pickett plays. If Kenny Pickett does not play, I'm going to go with the Panthers 23-17. If Pickett does play, let's flip the score in the Steelers' favor.
Okay. So if Kenny Pickett plays, I just like Pittsburgh. I'm gonna stick with 24-21. Kenny Pickett plays, because I just like that. I've liked what he's done over the past 4 or 5 weeks, as far as like touchdowns to interception ratio, and he was finally getting in the groove. I thought before he had this concussion, defense. Kenny Pickett and Pittsburgh defense is a good mesh when Kenny Pickett starts. So say, I will say that. Kenny Pickett doesn't play. I'm gonna let you talk about that one.
I've got you. I just think that the Ravens gave the Panthers their recipe to where the Ravens are playing with a third-string quarterback making his NFL debut, and the Steelers knew it was coming. You put 8 men in the box, and they're still getting 5 yards of carry. And I just think with that identity that the Panthers have with Wilkes, it's going to be a lot of the same in terms of
Right.
trying to attack this Steelers defense. So again, a lot of this contingent on if Steelers rookie quarterback Kenny Pickett can play again. I'll go if Pickett does not play, I'm going to pick the Panthers 23-17. But Panthers are 2.5-point favorite at home. This game's in Charlotte. When odds makers do that, usually if it's even, they'll give the home team 3 points. So this should be a close one. Points will be a premium as well, over under at 38.5. And if you want to place a bet on the game, betonline.ag is the place to do that. Ike, the Steelers are getting some reinforcements on defense. Signed defensive tackle Jonathan Marshall. This comes after Chris Wormley tore his ACL. He'll be out for the rest of the season. We'll see how much time he could miss potentially next season. This was a player in Wormley that played consistently and all 16, 17 game seasons. He rarely got hurt. And then the Steelers also signed outside linebacker Ola Adeniyi as well. So Steelers getting some defensive upgrades, some defensive reinforcements. And I look at it from this standpoint too. If you could hit on maybe even one of these signings, maybe you can find someone who can help this team, not just for this season, but in 2023 and beyond. These underrated signings, I'm hoping that when we look back on this, it's like, oh, yeah, remember when the Steelers made this move? And we don't think a lot about it right now. But 2023 and beyond is kind of how I approach this. If you could strike gold on one of these two, that's where I land with that.
Yes, it's early grooming. It's like a kid. It's like a kid coming out of high school and he's going to college early to play football in January. So he will be groomed early instead of going in the summer and hitting the fall, and now everything is new. Same thing when you're getting these guys, even late in the season, December. You're still giving them a 3-4 week groom on what it is to be a Steelers, the expectation, and this is how we're doing things before the off season really hits in January. So yeah, if you can strike on, if you got two, you can strike on one. It doesn't matter. You're golden. So yeah, but that's exactly how I look at it. You get a few free agents, depending on somebody's play or injury, and you hit on one of them, that's a good thing. I just look at it as a kid coming out of high school early, going into college. So he have a whole 6-7 months to kind of settle himself in and understand how the business is ran.
Tell you a little bit about Marshall. Entered the league in 2021, a 6th-round pick out of Arkansas. And again, was on the Jets practice squad as well. And then again, that kind of accounts for Chris Wormley, who becomes an unrestricted free agent in March. So a torn ACL means he probably won't be ready for the start of next season.
Oh,
and
no,
I wish him
right
a speedy recovery. I wish him a speedy
Correct.
recovery. The timing is just, it's brutal.
Yeah, it's tough. The ACL around this time, I mean, knock on wood, it's just tough in general. Even though the ACL surgeries and guys able to come back as fast as they once did, especially in my day and era, guys was coming back fast, they even coming back faster, so say because of technology and medicine, and these doctors are way in advance. But yeah, you still want to take your time when it comes down to ACL when you're a football player, regardless. So I ain't gonna say speedy recovery, a successful recovery.
Sure.
Is what I want to say.
Sure. Yeah, it's how it always cracks me up. They had successful knee surgery, Ike, and it's like with modern medicine, it's like, well, I hope,
Right.
Ola Adeniyi comes over from Tennessee, an edge rusher. So Malik Reed, who's been backing up both TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, he's been dealing with some back issues. Jameer Jones is rotated in, but he's playing on special teams. And then the Steelers have also used DeMarvin Leal, the rookie out of Texas A&M, a little bit like as a hybrid outside linebacker a little bit this season. One thing I noticed with Adeniyi, though, Ike, he's very active on his LinkedIn account. I was trying to do some research for this, and he already lists that he's a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I love it. A true professional.
Hey, man, these young kids, when it comes down to anything, when it comes down to these phones and being locked in, they already a step ahead. So whether he got a LinkedIn or IG or Twitter or TikTok, as soon as anything changed, man, I'm sure as soon as his name come up, it's going to upgrade his link account ASAP.
All right, Ike, time for my favorite segment of the show, What Yinz Think. This is where we allow our commenters on YouTube to weigh in, ask us questions, and offer their perspective. We've got two today. First one coming from Vincent Hott. Says, great show,
Okay.
guys. Says, hey, Ike, did you see Debo talking about you on Seven's podcast that's Ben Roethlisberger? He said, apparently you've always known all the what. So, Ike, what I want to ask you, before social media really came along in your career, how would you do your research to talk trash against your opponents?
Man, I just I'm gonna see how can I say this. I just knew the right people.
Uh-huh.
You know, I was always taught to if you want to have a crew, lead the guys along. Have a crew of strong, successful females. So I always had a crew of strong, successful females. And what comes with that is a lot of information because a lot of them look good. So you got successful females that are very confident and they just so happen to look good. And by the end of the day, they know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, correct? So if I wanted something on somebody, I holler at my crew on things I wouldn't know that they would tell me, and I use it in the game. So before the game even started, if I didn't like you, which was probably 99.9% of the people I didn't like because they didn't have a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform on. Mm-hmm. Oh, I said something to you, very disrespectful. But I got all my info from some good acquaintances, some good friends of mine, I would say.
Ike, this is a skill set I would say that you would learn early on in your life, considering what you learned from your sisters. Like, this is just something where I have a brother, something I don't know anything about.
Yes. Not necessarily my sisters. It was more of I went to college and I had opportunity to sit down with a young lady, beautiful young lady. Matter of fact, her name was Dominique, to be exact. I still talk to her this day. And she just gave me the game from a woman's perspective. And once she gave me the game from a woman's perspective, I took off. I took off. So she kind of schooled me on how women think, what women do. If you're going to have best friends, have a few guy friends, but you know, women are strong and powerful, and that young lady wasn't lying. I mean, she's older than me, but she definitely took me under her wing, Mark, and she groomed and she schooled me. And from that point on, I'm like, okay. She was like, ain't nothing wrong with being cool with women. Like it's and really, you know, at one point in time, I would just sit down. I mean, I sit down, I ask 4 or 5 of my homegirls, let's just go to dinner. And I just want to listen to their conversations, you know, or have their insight. So, but yeah, Dominique, to keep it 100 with your Mark, she schooled me and I took off. Like once I got to the NFL, I just kind of took off because everything is psychological, you know. Mm-hmm. If you in the NFL, you got some kind of physical attribute. So that's only gonna last for so long. How I'm gonna get you? I'm gonna get in your head. I'm gonna get in your head before the game even starts. So as soon as that first whistle blow, as soon as we kick off to them, I'm already talking to whoever I need to talk to while they're in the huddle. And the referees are already coming to me before the game, like 2-4, what kind of game this gonna be? And I'm telling them, hey, it's gonna be one of them games where y'all almost gonna pull the flag on me, but I'm for sure about to get fined off of what I say. And once I said what I need to say, you know, I mean, you can ask Troy, you can ask Debo, you can ask Ryan Clark, Aaron Smith, Casey Hampton, Joey Porter, Pot Dog, James Ferrier, Foot. Like, we thought Larry Foote was the talker, because Larry Foote and James Ferrier and Joey Porter, that's all they did was talk. But then when I got there was like hands down, I probably say the most disrespectful stuff a human being can say to another person. But for me, it was just getting in your head. That's all. Once I got in your head, I knew I was good.
I love when we've talked to your former teammates, Ike, and I asked them that question of what's the most disrespectful thing Ike said, and they just start laughing because there's just certain things that they can't say here on our show. They just can't.
Correct. This would have to be me and you going to Rocco's Tacos on Taco Tuesday. We sit down and we conversate about it, kind of conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. That shout out to Rocco's Tacos too. A great taco place in Orlando.
100%.
This is fantastic. And the shrimp nachos. This is a perfect transition into our next question, Ike.
Sure.
This comes
Segue.
from yes. Captain Spartan 04, who's been a great commenter, asked this great question. He says, besides spaghetti, we're talking food here. What's some of the best meals or food you can make, Ike? I can go first, or do you want to go first, Ike? If you need to.
You go first.
Okay, I wrote my list down. I'm going by meals. So breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'll give you one for each.
Okay.
I am great at cooking breakfast food, Ike. I specialize in. I have a lobster scrambled eggs recipe.
Oh, I love breakfast food. Oh, okay.
It is a recipe from Bangor, Maine, and it was actually a Christmas gift that my sister-in-law got me. It's a cookbook for men, so it's very, very simple. Right. It's a great recipe. Okay. So that's breakfast. Lunch and dinner, it depends on what order you want these two in. I make some mean beef kebabs. I put my own special seasoning on. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh, look at my dog.
So you get veggies and you get your protein in. And I'll tell you what, too, Ike. I have a skirt steak taco recipe that I've made. And the rub that I put on the steak is so good. Sometimes I just scrap the tacos and I eat skirt steak.
I love
it. Those are my three choices.
So you already passed me up when you went to your lunch because man, right now when it comes down to this cooking, I'm one dimensional. So breakfast is my favorite food. Boy, I do a mean scrambled eggs and a cold ass toast. And that's about as far as my book goes when it comes down to cooking.
Hey, that's all you need. That's all you need.
Mark, when I tell you, you bring a lot of stuff to the table. What is your deficiency? Cooking. Now, you want to talk about breakfast food, eggs, toast? I would live off of that every day.
Yeah.
Every day. But other than that, Mark, once you got into once you said lobster eggs, you passed me up already. Because it ain't nothing but Zatarain season salt for me on my eggs. So once you said lobster with your eggs, oh yeah, you way past me on that one. You ain't even have to get to no lunch with me. But that toast though, I put that love on that toast, Mark. I put that love on that toast. That toast be so good. Well, I'm definitely not a cooker, bro. I'm a cleaner. A cleaner. You cook, I clean.
Deal.
But yeah, when it comes down to the cooking, I'll let you chef that thing out, bro. That's something I'm not good at all.
Yeah, I don't do the lobster scrambled eggs recipe, Ike, every time I make eggs. I don't. It really depends
man,
on
it don't even matter, Mark. That thing sound. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go on and ask Lex.
I'll send it to you.
I'm gonna ask Lex. Yeah, I'm gonna say, Lex, man, you gotta. I say, off of the strength of Mark, you gotta cook. You gotta whip this lobster eggs up for me.
It's actually very easy to butterfly a lobster tail, but do it when it's on sale at the store. You don't want to pay out the wazoo for a lobster tail. They go on sale every month or so. So that's where I'm at. Again, this is why I love this segment. What Yinz Think gives us, our listeners
a different perspective.
Yeah. It's fantastic. We've got to rip through week 15 picks. Thursday night, 49ers and Seahawks. 49ers a 3-point favorite on the road. I believe in Brock Purdy. I can't believe I'm saying this. Geno Smith and the Seahawks, I think, are starting to fall off. The wheels are coming off. You've been high on the 49ers all season long.
Yes.
I know we've seen a one-game sample size from Purdy, but he did it against a Bucs defense that, even though the Bucs have struggled, has been stout. I'm going to take the 49ers on the road on Thursday night.
Yeah, Purdy been pretty. He been pretty awesome. Purdy been pretty awesome. Hey, San Fran, somebody need to go out and get this shirt, what I just said. Purdy been pretty awesome. So, I mean, I mean, come on, man. It's the confidence. When you got a defense like that, when you got a running game like that, when you got an offensive coordinator like that, I ain't gonna say it's easy to go into the games, but obviously they've been talking about Purdy since training camp. Like, hey, we got a young boy. I know y'all like Jimmy. I know y'all like Trey and company, but we got a young boy named Purdy. He pretty good if something ever was to happen. And it's the confidence, man. I mean, we went through this, and I'm not saying this is what it's going to be, but it's the Dak Prescott situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Tony got hurt, I forgot who was the backup after Tony. He wound up getting hurt. Then Dak came in. Then we was like, oh Lord have mercy, like same thing. You know, I'm not saying he's going to take over the franchise. But right now, he's taking over the franchise, and the franchise is 100% around him, and he's showing you, he's very competitive. He's going to make his plays, and he's doing it with a lot of confidence. So that's just the energy. My personal opinion. That's the energy that's feeding off coming from that defense. And I've seen this story. Even though future Hall of Famer Big Ben did his thing after the defense wasn't the defense anymore. But, I mean, we used to tell Seven, like, hey, bro, you don't turn the ball over and just make plays with your legs and keep extending. Hey, bro, you're going to help us win a lot of games. I guess they saying the same thing with Purdy, the San Francisco defense. Like, Purdy, I'm telling you, we got your back. Even if you do mess up, we still got your back. Just put us in some good situations. So Purdy, man, just coming from his body language, coming from the defense, coming from his offensive line. Like when he throw touchdowns, when he scramble for touchdowns, and we say this all the time, Mark, like your offensive line will tell you how your offense really feel about the quarterback, depending on if that person get hurt or scored. And you can just see the vibe in San Fran, man. They all behind Purdy. Purdy is playing with confidence, and really, when you got somebody who's confident like that, it's going to be hard to stop. So, yeah, I'm going with Purdy. And like you say, Geno Smith and company, they had a run, a 3-4 game run, but after that, it's been like up and down, so say, with the Seattle Seahawks. Now, don't get me wrong. Seattle Seahawks have passed my expectations a long time ago. But Pete Carroll got them, Pete Carroll, he's young at heart. Even though he's in his 70s, the man's still young at heart. You can see it on the sideline. Like, he just evolved, for somebody to be 70-something years old, evolving, having that kind of energy, still doing push-ups, still jumping around, dancing with his players. That says a lot about Coach Pete Carroll. But that Bay Area team sitting over there in the Bay, that E40, that yada I mean, that San Fran, boy, them boys, it's big shout out to DeMarco Ryan. Big shout out to the DC. DeMarco Ryan, man, got them boys playing it's past elite, a superior level on that defensive side. But to answer your question, I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers. Mark.
Yeah, shout out to Fred Warner, the linebacker as well. I don't think he gets enough due. The Cowboys quarterbacks after Romo, Matt Cassell, Brandon Weeden, Kellen Moore. They had a season with Andy Dalton, Dak, Ben DiNucci, Garrett Gilbert. So had to have been one of those players.
There you go.
Let's go to Saturday. We've got Saturday games. We're into the part of the season. We've got
3.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Colts and Vikings is the first one. Vikings, 4.5 point favorite.
Yeah.
You love the Vikings, Ike. I'm pushing back here. 9 of the 10 Vikings wins. The Vikings are 10-3. 9 of the Vikings' 10 wins have come within a touchdown or less. I think they probably beat the Colts, but I think it's going to be a close game. Yeah. I'm going to take the Colts to cover the 4.5.
Okay. I love the Vikings in the regular season. Love them. During the regular season, I love them.
Yeah.
Now, you asked me about the playoffs. Not at all.
I think their ceiling is like the NFC Championship, Ike. If they make it to the NFC Championship, I would say the Vikings had a successful season. That's my opinion. My opinion.
I agree. I'm going with the Vikings as well.
Okay. I'm going to take the Colts to cover. We'll see.
Okay.
Ravens and Browns. This line doesn't make any sense to me, but to me, it signals that Lamar Jackson's probably going to continue to be out with the knee injury.
Right.
We don't know about Huntley, the backup, because he had a concussion. So if it's going to be the third stringer, the Browns are a 3-point favorite. Watson hasn't looked good in his 2 games back since his suspension. But, like, here are questions I have. I don't even know how to pick this game, Ike. So the Browns have struggled this year. There's questions of whether Kevin Stefanski will keep his job after the season. The bigger question I have is this, though. Yeah, you run the ball with Nick Chubb. Where has Kareem Hunt been this season? He'd be better than half the starting running backs in the league, Ike. That's not a hyperbole. And the Browns virtually haven't used him this season. It doesn't make any sense at all. That might be my biggest beef with the Browns.
Yeah, if Huntley plays, I'm going with the Ravens. If Huntley don't play, I'm going with the Browns. It's going to take till next year for Deshaun Watson to get back into a football groove. To be out of football for over 300-some days, that's a lot. That's
I think it's like 700. It's longer than that, Ike. It's been a long time.
7. Yeah, then the 2.5 years. So to be out of work, that's just like us not going to work for 700-some days. And how we gonna come back? We're gonna come back past rusty. We're gonna come back. Well, I can't say that word. We're gonna come back rusty as hell, is what I want to say. So. Yeah, that's Deshaun Watson right now, man. He's just trying to knock all the rust. So it's like a trophy that's been sitting in your attic for the past 17 years, man. I gotta get everything up off that thing and clean it up. It's equivalent to Deshaun Watson not playing, Mark, for damn near over 700 days. That's just hard. He can work out all he wants to. He can go to OTAs all he wants to. He can go to training camp all he wants to. He's still not going to get that football feel unless he's actually playing in games. So he's still knocking off the rust, I think. So if Huntley plays, the Ravens win. If Huntley don't play, I got Cleveland winning.
That's fair, Ike. I'll go with the Ravens. I just think they're one of those teams where it's like, how the heck did they win again this week? We'll see, though. On the road, AFC North matchup. It should be a good one. I think that's a sound pick, Ike. Dolphins at Bills. And Ike, this might be the matchup of the weekend.
Yeah,
I love Mike McDaniel. Tua's coming off his 2 worst games of the season, though. I'm going to take the Bills at home, -6.5 if you can get it at that line. We'll see if this line shifts at all. But Tua struggled the past 2 weeks, Ike. And I raised this question with you a few weeks ago. I said, are the Dolphins really a playoff team? I'm going to just keep that question out there.
Oh, yeah, they definitely a playoff team, but they remind me of the Vikings. And they're going to be a playoff team. And that's exactly – now you go into Buffalo, and we just saw Buffalo just had to switch their whole game because they got damn near 7 feet of snow a couple of weeks ago. Have the Miami Dolphins ever went to an environment like that where the weather isn't perfect, where you're sipping Mai Tais and you got mimosas for breakfast all day in Miami? No, they're not. So they're going into a facility. They're going into a stadium or state where when you wake up out in the morning, what's the first thing you eat for breakfast? Soup. What you drink going into work? Soup. What you having for dinner? Soup. So they're going into a hostile environment, and we ain't even talking about the team. We talking about actually the weather. The weather's hostile and very disrespectful. And the guys who've been staying in Buffalo, they love it because they're used to it. The cold weather doesn't matter to them. So when you see a guy coming from Buffalo to the locker room and it's -2 degrees and all he got is a beanie on with no shirt, and you coming from Miami, you got your feet up and you got your Bahama Mama shirt on and you got your flip-flops on, and as soon as you step off that plane, that thing say, oh, you about to get sick ASAP if you don't dress warm up here. Yeah. So it's going to mess with their mentality. I think Buffalo had a few weeks of playing as a okay team. I think now they about to get back into the Buffalo we saw early on during the season with Josh Allen and company. But for the Miami Dolphins, man, I think they will make the playoffs. I look at them as I look at the Vikings, and that's a good playoff team or making it to the playoffs, a good regular season team making it to the playoffs. But that cold. I mean, we used to play them. Mark, we played them all. Every time Miami came to Pittsburgh, that's the first thing they were saying late in the season. Man, we don't see how y'all boys playing this weather. And Buffalo has worse weather than Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. So them hits hurt a little bit. Them receivers coming across the middle. them hits, they don't hurt, they burn. In the cold weather, them hits don't hurt, they burn. It's a different. Like this hot, but damn, it's cold. It burned up there. So I'm taking the Buffalo Bills all day. Tua has been in the slump. They running backs, they haven't been healthy as well. I got Jeff Wilson Jr. on my team for fantasy. So I've been keeping up with him because I did like him coming from the San Fran trade. But right now, I just think my personal opinion. You can correct me if I'm wrong. They trying to push Tua for the MVP at one point in time instead of just going with the roster says, run the ball, play action pass, and let's keep Tua safe. So yeah, that's. But I just like Buffalo. I think every team goes through a slump at some point in that time during the season. Mm-hmm. Buffalo are coming off their slumps. They winning games close. They're not blowing teams out anymore. But when you get late into the season, this is exactly how you want your team to be built. Because in the playoffs, you're not blowing anybody out. It's going to be some close games. So, yeah, I'm taking Buffalo all day with this one. But one of the reasons why I'm taking Buffalo is that cold weather. They call it that hawk. Once that hawk out in December, if you ain't used to that hawk, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I've got to state this for the record. I like both mimosas and soup. I think that's important for you to know.
100%. 100%. I mean, you know us. We between you and I, it don't take much. As long as we around each other, we good. So if we just want to have some kind of soup that you done made throughout the day for dinner, we doing that. But during the day after brunch, we definitely gonna hit our mimosas for sure.
Sunday's action: NFC South, Falcons at Saints. I do not understand why the Saints continue to start Andy Dalton. My crazy theory is that the head coach, Dennis Allen, has some sort of dirt over Jameis Winston. If Andy Dalton continues to start, I like the Falcons more than the Saints from what I've seen. I'm going to take the Falcons to win on the road as 3.5-point underdogs, Ike.
Ooh, I'm going to go. Yeah, you changed my mind. I'm going to go with the Falcons. Is Marcus Mariota playing this game? Because I thought I watched something that said he wasn't happy about not playing, getting benched during the game. Is he playing this game right here?
Let me take a look because I know that they had named no. So Desmond Ridder, the rookie, is going to make his very first start. The rookie out of Cincinnati, Ike.
Okay, yeah, I thought I saw that. I thought I saw it. They want to move into a different direction. They drafted a young man. They want to see exactly what he can do. They saw everything they needed to see from Marcus Mariota. So for that case, I'm going with the Saints.
All right, that's fine, Ike. We will go to our next matchup, Lions and Jets. And Ike, I know everyone's hot on the Lions, winners of 5 of their last 6 games. But yeah. Ike, to me, this is like Lions are 6-7. I think they dug themselves too deep a hole early on in the season, and the Jets need to keep pace in a very competitive AFC East division. Yeah. This game is a pick-em. I know Mike White has been filling in for Zach Wilson. I'm going to go with the Jets. I'm zagging against the Lions, and it's not because I know everyone is hot on the Lions right now, Ike, but I think with 4 games left in the season, it's not the way that the Lions are playing, but the pressure is going to mount because they pretty much need to win out to make the playoffs. So I'm going to go with the Jets. I like the Jets defense this season too. I think it's smash mouth, shutdown defense. Garrett Wilson on the offensive side of the ball, too. The rookie receiver has been special. I'm going with the Jets at home in this game as well, an important distinction.
Yeah, if you zagging, I'm zigging. And I'm going to zig right over there to the Detroit Lions. And the reason why I'm going with the Detroit Lions is because it starts, 1, with the head coach, 1. 2, they say you are your coach's personality when it comes down to team makeups. And when your coach is doing 100 burpees, while y'all warming up right in front of your face, says a lot. When your coach is 6'7" and still working out and lifting with the linebackers in the weight room, says a lot about your coaching personality. When you have a former quarterback who played in a Super Bowl, even though they didn't win it, and Jared Goff, it says a lot about his experience. Mm-hmm. When you have young receivers who are now opening their eyes and showing everybody what they can do, it says a lot about your team. Now, we have said this about the Detroit Lions early on in the year. They're a tough team. They just find ways to lose. And now we can't say that, Mark. To win 5 out of your last 6 games is like they're a tough team. And one thing, and it's one team that you don't want to see who's playing with a lot of confidence if they do so happen to get into the playoffs is the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
I don't think Minnesota want to see them. I don't think, because one thing they're going to bring is physicality. You got Aiden Hutchinson, who he was high on in last year's draft, which he did get drafted high from Michigan. What he's doing, he's playing lights out.
I think they got a corner rookie. I tried to tell you.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they got a corner. I just thought Davis was the best overall. The D tackle from Georgia. I just thought he was the best person in that draft.
I'm sorry to derail your point, Ike. Is it Okudah, the corner?
Yeah, Okudah. So, I mean, no, you're right. You're 100% right. So what they've been hitting on their picks, and their picks been showing nothing but success so far, and we just talk about in the rookie stages. So, I mean, then you got Swift. Swift was hurt. The running back, he was hurt for a little bit. He's back. Williams has been doing was scoring touchdowns, so I think he leads the league for running backs in touchdowns. I think he got 12 to 13 touchdowns. So Swift already know if Swift is not hitting home runs, they're going to put Williams in because he got a nose for the end zone. So whether it's a 2 or 3 yard run, that's exactly what the Detroit Lions is going to do. Defense has been playing good. For the Jets, the reason why I'm not picking the Jets because of it's later on in the season, and I don't really know the Jets. You can't be too inconsistent around this time. You want to be moving upward. You don't want to be moving even kill. So I just like the confidence now what Detroit is playing with over the Jets. Even though I think the Jets are a good team, it's just going to be tough to see how they respond after the loss they just had.
Ike, have you ever done 100 burpees in front of the youth team that you coach?
And we do 100 burpees on Wednesday. Today, Wednesday. So that's our cardio. So we do 100 burpees and we do a mile as fast as you can. And that's our Wednesday workout. But you got to do the 100 burpees under 12 minutes.
Wednesday workout. That's a good hashtag, Ike. We need to move on. Chiefs at Texans. Chiefs a 14-point road favorite. It's a Texans team that hung with the Cowboys a week ago. I don't think there's any way that the Texans beat the Chiefs, Ike, but I think they cover. Whenever I see a double-digit favorite, the NFL favors parity. I think the Texans find a way with their running game to hang with Kansas City. I don't think they'll win outright, but give me the Texans to cover that 14-point spread.
Yeah, the only if y'all listening to our show, the only covering app you need to go to if you want to do anything when it considers to spreads and cover is go to betonline.ag. One, we're going to get that out of the way. Two, if the Houston Texans control the clock, they will hold the spread by 14. If the Houston Texans try to have a shootout with Patrick Mahomes, they will get blown out by 18 points.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it's like Davis Mills, Driscoll trying to keep pace with Patrick Mahomes. No, thank you. Eagles at Bears. Eagles a 9-point road favorite. Bears coming off a bye week.
Tough.
To me, Ike, it's as simple as this. I think the Bears offensively could hang, but I don't think that they can stop a potent Eagles offense. Reason being, you trade away Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn to get better draft picks this season. Eagles lead the league in points, point differential. They have a clear path. They're trying to fight for a number 1 seed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
With those things considering, I'm going to take the Eagles to cover on the road. Tough game. I do think the Eagles win. If you're not certain about that 9-point spread, Ike, throw the Eagles in a money line because of what is at stake for playoff positioning. I do think they'll take care of business in Chicago.
I mean, the Eagles just hard to beat. Yeah, I'm taking the Eagles. The Eagles just hard to beat, Mark. I mean, how you want to fight? The Eagles roster is built to on the offensive side. do y'all want to box or do y'all want to do MMA? Because
Yeah.
we can go either style.
Yep.
We're Tennessee Titans is a MMA style team. Kansas City is a boxing team. So y'all want to go finesse with the boxing or you want to go bully with the MMA? It's only one team like that. And it starts with Jalen Hurts, Mark. So I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles because they can give it to you however you want it. They can finesse you or they can bully you. And not too many. I think they're the only team who can do that. If y'all stopping our pass, we just gonna run the ball. If y'all stopping our run, we just gonna pass the ball.
Yeah.
By the way, we got a quarterback who understands the whole situation, and he's a runner too as well. So not only he can sling the ball, he can run the ball. If y'all want to make him be a pocket quarterback, he's going to be a pocket quarterback. If y'all don't hold containment, he's going to run and scramble the ball. So that's how I look at it. It's just you're talking about the total package. A team that checks off every box on the offensive side. That's Philly, man. Philly can do it. Have a style you won't fight. That's what Philly doing, man. That's what they're doing. So it's hard not to pick. It did what caught my eye, since we just talking about Philly, of course I'm picking them to win. What caught my eye was, Jalen, sitting, I think Jalen just threw for a touchdown to AJ. To AJ. He threw a tubby to AJ, and, Adams and AJ, they just clowned. They just clowned sitting beside Jalen, having fun as you should. We winning. And Jalen just sitting, you can just see Jalen just hitting his thoughts like, hey, what I need to do for the next series. And I'm like, man, this young man is locked in. And then you just look at what he had to go through in college. Now he's able just to sit. And you got to look at what he had to do to start. And then bringing in a new head coach. And is Jalen the answer for the Philadelphia Eagles? And it's like, damn, Jalen finally catching his break. Now, it took 3 years going into the league. Out of all this time, out of being a Heisman, out of going to Alabama, after going to Oklahoma, to going to Philly, to is he the answer, to he like, this all I know. Jalen Hurts like, all I know is work. All I know is me beating the odds. So now I'm beating the odds and y'all finally give me AJ and company, Miles Sanders and company, an offensive line and company. Hey, watch what I do. So do I have to worry about anybody behind me? No. Jalen, this is your team. This is your team. We're going to have a backup because we should, or two, but this is your team.
Yeah.
And you saying, you saying, but we see how successful people are now, but to see his story since he was in college, if people can think about that, it makes it even better. So from going to the national championship game to getting benched in a national championship game to transferring to another school.
Well, hang on. When he got benched, remember, he came back in to replace Tua to win the SEC championship game. So to stay ready, I think, is just a valuable lesson. And he came in and didn't miss a beat.
Didn't miss a beat. I forgot about that, Mark. The man didn't miss a beat. So if Philly win it this year, I'm not gonna be surprised. But I will say this, Mark. Matchups, because I always look at matchups.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They do not want to see Detroit in the playoffs. I would be the first to. Don't nobody want to see Detroit in the playoffs. Don't nobody. Okay. These teams are hoping, wishing, and praying. Detroit do not want. Please don't let Detroit get in the playoffs. Please don't.
Okay, I'll let you die on that hill, because I don't think Detroit's even going to make the playoffs. I know everyone's really hot on the Lions, and I understand the way that they're playing. To me, it has more so to do with the Lions dug themselves too deep of a grave early on in the season. That is just my opinion, and I will gladly admit that I'm in the minority there. That's just what I think.
I mean, don't forget, Tampa right now. They still the number 4 seed. And what their record is, 5 and
Well, it's because of the division. I said this. We did a Bleav NFL live show reacting to Week 14, and I said Can we get the Lions in the playoffs and we could just scrap whoever wins the NFC South? Can we bend the rules there?
Right.
So in terms of the way that the Lions are playing, I'm with you.
Yeah. I mean, we shall see.
Cowboys at Jags. Cowboys a 6-point road favorite. I don't trust the Jaguars. I never know which team's going to show up.
You don't know what helter skelter. You don't know which one we're gonna get, dog.
Yeah.
That's the only thing about the Jags. It's like, who did the Jags beat last year to take them out of the playoffs? Was it the Colts?
Yeah. It helped our Steelers out.
Yeah, man. Wow, the Jaguars, man. You don't know which one you get. You don't know if you getting Ken the Barbie doll or if you're getting Freddy Krueger. You just don't know, Mark. They scare the hell out of me. I be mad to go to bet online and bet against the Jags. When I see the Jags, I stay away from them.
Same. Wise words, Ike. Wise words. We'll keep this rolling. Cardinals at Broncos could be a battle of the backups. Kyler Murray out for the season with the torn ACL. Russell Wilson's got a concussion.
Broncos
We're under at 38, so points will be a premium in this game. A Broncos offense that has struggled, but they were starting to click against Kansas City. I would say this. Take the under. I know this is a very low total, but if two backup quarterbacks are playing, hit the under in this game. That would be my advice. Under? It's a pick 'em. 38 points, Ike.
I wasn't even going that far. I was going to say 13 or 14 because the game was going to be 7-6. And I got the Buffalo. Not the Buffalo. I got the Denver Broncos. So I thought you were about to say 14, 15.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense to me. So this game is going to be a low-scoring, old-school 1960 playoff kind of game. The score will be 7-6, maybe 10-7.
All right. I'll take the Broncos too at home.
Me too.
I like them at home. Patriots and Raiders. Patriots a 1-point road favorite.
This another. They remind me of the Jacksonville Jaguars. This another team. I'm scared to bet against the Patriots. Oh Lord, Mark. Who they play, Mark?
Patriots Raiders.
Oh, because I don't know which Raiders I'm getting. Golly, between
and the
Raiders,
recipe's not difficult. Like, just
Jaguars.
give the ball to Jacobs. Just give the ball to Jacobs. To me, this shouldn't be that difficult. Give the ball to Jacobs. Get the ball to Adams. Boom. There you go.
Hey, where they playing at?
Darren Waller. They're playing in Las Vegas.
And who they playing again? Who the Raiders playing again? I got to make sure I heard it right.
The Patriots. The New England Patriots.
Oh, Lord.
This would be a stay away for me, too. I suppose I'm going to take the Patriots. I have more faith in the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm going with the Patriots. Because Belichick Josh, you still my son. So I'm gonna go. Biologically, you're not my son, but in this coaching world, you're my son, Josh. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Patriots because Bill gonna know exactly everything Josh is trying to do.
Good point.
Bill will have an answer to all of that every down. See, I'm taking Bill over Josh all day, every day. So yeah, even though I don't know what Matt Jones I'm gonna get, that's the only thing that's bothering me. I don't know which one. But yeah, I'm taking them. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Patriots on this one.
4 left, Ike. Titans at Chargers. This is another tough one.
Oh Lord.
This is another tough
one.
Bro,
I feel like I'm taking an exam or something. Bro.
Right.
Golly.
I suppose I'll take the Chargers with Herbert. I'm going to go with the quarterback here. I'd take Chargers at home, 2.5 points. And 2.5 too. You win by a field goal, you win this bet. I'll take Herbert and the Chargers.
Yes, I'll take Herbert and the Chargers as well.
I'm taking an exam too. Like, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers, Mark. I'm gonna go with I like Justin. I don't know why the LA Chargers don't do more of a 2-minute offense just to throw the tempo off, because when they do, Justin Herbert turns into a mutant. Yeah. For real. So yeah, but I'm taking the Chargers.
All right. Bengals at Buccaneers. Bengals only a 3.5 point favorite. Now I know that Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins dealing with injuries. I'm going with the Bengals all day. They've been hot. And here's the thing too, Jamar Chase catching 10 of 15 targets. Can the Steelers steal this recipe and apply that to George Pickens, Ike? So I like the way the Bengals have been playing. I'm taking the Bengals to cover the 3.5-point spread on the road against the Buccaneers.
Yeah. And the only reason why I'm saying yeah with the Bengals is because of P-Ron. P-Ron been playing out his goddamn mind. Since Joe since Joe been Nick, P-Ron been playing like Joe. So now how we talk about Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt being probably one of the two best duos in that backfield, we can also say, the Cincinnati Bengals got a good duo between Joe Mixon and P-Ron as well. So I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, 2 left.
Hold on. I can't. Not against Tom. I can't betonline.ag against Tom. So I'm gonna go to betonline.ag and I'm taking the Bucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you, Mike. Sunday Night Football. I think this is a loser leaves town matchup. Giants at Commanders. Commanders coming off a bye week. These were the two teams that tied, and they didn't really need to tie, but I think the Commanders were saying, hey, we'll take care of business at home coming out of the bye week. And this has been a very competitive NFC East division this season. I'm going to go with the Commanders at home.
Hey, Mark. Tell Taylor Heineke to give your boy a Heineke, because you stressing me out with all these goddamn picks later on in the season. I'm taking the Washington Commanders, and I'm going on betonline.ag to do it.
Oh, man. I wish – that's amazing. One game left Monday night. This one's a little bit easier, I think. Rams at Packers. Probably Baker Mayfield.
This is easier.
I think this is easier.
My. It's two bad teams playing each other.
I know.
Ain't nothing easy about picking this.
I'll go with the Packers at home. This is a tough week to pick. It's a tough week.
Right. When I get off this show, I got to take me. I don't know if y'all, for all our listeners and followers, with all these week 15 picks, dealing with Mark he's taxing my brain right now. And I don't know if y'all ever had BC powder. So just Google BC powder. It clears your headaches ASAP. It's what the old people used to take. Mark, this is exactly what I'm doing after I get off with you. I'm going to take me a goddamn BC powder, dealing with your goddamn week 15.
Who you got, Rams or Packers, and you're off the hook, Ike?
I'm going to take the Packers. I like their backfield better than the Rams' backfield. So I'm taking the Packers.
Good pick. Yeah, the Rams have struggled to run the ball this year. IT, you're the absolute best. You're off the hook. I will let you go.
We're off the hook?
Yeah.
Lee, boy, you were taxing my brain.
Well, there's no more bye week, so you got to go through all of the games. Ike, you're the absolute best. I want to thank you, the Bleav Network, our video producers over at Brinks TV, led by John Brinkus, Courtney Vargas, Herbert Diaz, Megan Maurer, producer Yinz as well. Today's sponsor of the Bleav in Steelers show, betonline.ag. I want to thank the listeners and the viewers. Ike, keep sending those comments in. We love them for the What Yinz Think segment.
Yeah, big shout out to betonline.ag for rocking with us from day one. Mark, a huge shout out to you. You've been amazing to work with. Everybody behind the scenes of this Bleav in podcast, appreciate y'all just having the time and the patience. Us changing schedules, me specifically, and y'all working with me with that as well. Big shout out to Brinks TV and Miss Courtney. Congratulations to Miss Courtney Vargas, of course. She's found to me for sure. But want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening. Make sure y'all give us a 5-piece. That's a 5-star rate and review as well. Any questions, man, make sure y'all just type it up and send it to Mark and I for what Yinz Think. For sure, we love that segment. Keep asking us questions. We got the answers for it. Mark, take off.
For Ike Taylor, I'm Mark Bergin. Thanks for watching the Bleav in Steelers show. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the Week 15 action. Until then, take care, and so long, everybody.
Peace.